Welcome. I hope you are having a wonderful night, dear viewer. Tonight, I will be telling some terrifyingly scary stories. Make sure to leave your feedback on the comments so I can make this the best experience for you. And if you have any stories you would like me to tell, you can send them through the link in the description. Let's begin. Story 1. My daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, was visiting my parents for the weekend during the summer. They own 55 acres of land in the woods in northern Michigan. The majority of the property near the house is cleared, spanning roughly 7 acres, while the remaining area is dotted with sporadic trees until you reach the back 8 acres. Before darkness fell, they enjoyed sitting on their screened-in porch, observing the deer as they came out to graze. That's what they had done on this particular night. The plan was to wait until the sun went down so my daughter could practice riding her C2 200 Coleman bike. It was a small bike that reached a speed of 20 miles per hour, equipped with a decent headlight, making it suitable for the cleared trails on the property. As my daughter and my dad sat on the porch just before sunset, she kept her eyes fixed on the open field, hoping to catch a glimpse of deer. However, instead of deer, she spotted something that resembled a white dog, moving slowly. It was about 200 yards away from them, and she exclaimed, "Grandpa, what is that?" He looked over and appeared puzzled. My dad is a man who grew up in the woods and possesses extensive knowledge about the animals and their habitats. He suggested it could be a white coyote, given its size. But he admitted it didn't quite resemble any coyote he had ever seen. The creature's body was unnaturally thin, almost skeletal, and it lacked a tail. Intrigued, he hurried inside the house to retrieve the binoculars. Peering through them, he remarked, "It looks really deformed, like a deformed pit bull. It's facing away, so I can't see its face clearly." Eventually, the creature moved out of view, and they resumed their vigil, waiting for darkness to settle in. When the sun finally set, my dad reminded my daughter to ride slowly, since biking at night was a new experience for her. Although she was familiar with the lay of the land, he couldn't help but worry since it was her first time riding laps in the dark. After delivering a brief safety reminder, she set off. As she pedaled her way around the property, she couldn't shake off a peculiar sensation of being watched. Yet, she brushed aside those thoughts, attributing them to a combination of nerves and the darkness enveloping the woods. However, as she turned the corner onto a straight path, her bike's light illuminated 2 reflective eyes in the distance. She gradually slowed her bike, assuming it was a coyote or a deer. Drawing nearer, she noticed that it was white. She was overcome with panic when she realized that this creature was the same one she and my dad had observed in the field. Only now it was mere feet away. The creature faced her directly, revealing its head. It crouched with its long, skinny arms hanging down by its sides. Its head resembled that of a malnourished human, featuring an enormous chest and highly visible ribcage. What appeared to be white fur from a distance turned out to be pallid, gray-tinged skin resembling the color of death. Its eyes, which were half the size of its head, gleamed in the light cast by my daughter's bike. She continued riding toward it, completely frozen with fear, unable to react. And then she noticed the creature's mouth, large and profoundly unnatural. As she approached closer, she began to realize that this creature was exceptionally tall, towering like my 6'3" father. The long, skinny arms that hung by its sides possessed human-like hands. Overwhelmed by a sickening sensation and dizziness, she suddenly snapped out of her trance, turned the bike around, and raced back to the house at full speed, as fast as the bike would take her. Story 2. My dad had bought a house outright, on a whim, surprising me and my 2 siblings. It was definitely a step up from the slums. He came into some money, which he didn't explain. and I knew better than to pry. The important thing was that the house was cheap, and my dad got a good deal on it. The only catch was that it needed some repairs, but since my dad was a carpenter, fixing it up wouldn't be a problem at all. It was his thing. As the oldest of the 3 children, I helped out with the renovations, and I wasn't too bad at it myself. It took a few months to complete the work since I was still in school, so it became a weekend project for my dad and me, while the younger ones played and did their own thing. My brother Tim was always the goofy one, constantly laughing, playing practical jokes, and being the family clown. He always talked about wanting to be a comedian, but something changed after the first month of moving in and working on the house. His jokes became fewer and less funny, and he started being mean to our youngest sister. He began swearing and having random outbursts, fits of rage that would get him into trouble with our father. Of course, he would be disciplined and his toys would be taken away, which only seemed to make things worse. We had no clue why he was acting this way. His health started deteriorating, and no matter how many times we asked him why he was behaving like this, he would sometimes seem like he wanted to speak up, but would stop mid-sentence and throw a fit instead. One night, when our father was working late, I was alone with the kids, and Tim started acting up again. The anger was becoming more destructive than ever before, so I called our father for help. It didn't take long for our father to come home, and when he did, he found Tim sitting on his bed, which had been pushed away from the wall. Tim had been attacking one specific spot on the wall, leaving scratches, dents, and red crayon marks in circular patterns. My father managed to calm him down, holding him as he cried uncontrollably. I stood against the doorframe, watching the whole thing unfold, and something told me that Tim was trying to tell us something. That weekend, I suggested that the younger ones spend the night at our aunt's house, and Dad agreed. According to my aunt, Tim seemed fine while he was there. He was his normal self and appeared happy to be away. When I knew that Dad and I were alone, I went down to the shed and grabbed a sledgehammer. My father watched, thinking I was crazy. As I took the first swing, "What the hell are you doing, boy?" he exclaimed. Ignoring his question, I kept swinging until there was a 2-foot hole in the wall. I pulled off another section of drywall and retrieved a flashlight. We pulled back the rest of the wall and discovered the mummified remains of a female body. It was a chilling sight. My dad immediately called the police, and they arrived with a forensic team to investigate the scene. The investigation took a few days, and it was revealed that the woman had been murdered in Tim's room, and her remains were concealed behind the wall. What disturbed me even more was the fact that her hand, with the index finger pointing outward, was positioned right where Tim's head would be when he slept. When we confronted Tim about what had been happening to him, he didn't hesitate to tell us. "The woman in my wall talks to me," he said. "She kept tapping on the wall when I tried to sleep, but she wouldn't stop. She said she wouldn't stop until I helped her, but I couldn't tell anyone. She choked me." We had no idea about any of this, even though Tim had been trying to tell us. It explained his outbursts and unusual behavior. As we grew older, Tim seemed to forget about the whole ordeal, and we never brought it up. We moved out of that house soon after the discovery, and everything eventually returned to normal. My dad and I would occasionally mention it, but it remained a haunting mystery. We never found out who killed that woman, or how she ended up behind the wall. We were just grateful that Tim was okay, and that we were out of that house. Story 3. The world of TikTok and Snapchat, and whatever other emerging social media platforms that my 11-year-old daughter watches has always been something I found as being childish, and didn't interest me much. However, when online news media outlets like Yahoo and Mizzen would derive their stories from TikTok, then I said, why not, and at least give TikTok a try. I was pleasantly surprised by TikTok on its numerous topics. People post about everything from cats, to military, to true crime video posts. Some of the posts on TikTok I do find childish, but eventually, TikTok has filtered them out and honed in on the things a 38-year-old guy likes, like true crime mysteries, I love watching videos on people who have mysteriously vanished or grainy footage of unknown suspects who have never been caught. So given that my daughter has just left a few hours ago for a weekend retreat at a Girl Scout camp, I decided to indulge on TikTok. The old Girl Scout leader, Macy, had gotten diagnosed with cancer, so she had to regrettably step down. But thankfully, another mother has volunteered to step in as the new leader, with my now separated wife, Sheila, who is still trying to find herself. I am just happy that my daughter, Grace, has something to do this weekend, rather than just mope around the house feeling depressed. The new leader, Carol, was nice enough to pick up Grace, along with her own daughter, Raquel, and another girl named Amanda, as well, and drive them to a campground in the Poconos. Carol sold me on her years of being involved with the Girl Scouts, so I'm going to do nothing more than relax this weekend. I start to swipe through TikTok videos and find mostly crime-related posts that I have seen already. So I decide to expand beyond the people I'm following to see what's new on TikTok. A post came up that caught my attention because it said Girl Scout tragic camping trip that was posted by Serial Killer Blossoms. I really didn't want to watch the video because I didn't want to get paranoid and draw parallels to the possibility that something similar could happen to Grace on her current trip. But whoever coined the phrase curiosity, killed the cat, probably was thinking of some numbskull like me. I clicked on part 1 of the video that was posted 5 days ago, which showed the outside of a small yellow unmarked school bus. The creator of the video then showed the interior of the bus, which looked like your typical smaller bus with about 6 rows of seats. The camera person pointed to various video cameras installed throughout the bus. I wasn't sure the intent of this part 1 video. I didn't know if this bus was part of a crime that had happened in the past or just some type of converted recreational RV. My interest was waning, but I decided to click on part 2 anyways. This time, the bus was moving and I could make out kids on the back of the bus. The video camera was by the driver, and I couldn't make out much more than there was about 3 kids sitting on the bus. Then with just a few seconds left on the TikTok post, a different camera angle is shown. As I'm sitting on my living room couch, I start to make out the faces of the kids. They appear to be middle school-aged girls, and something inside me tells me to look at when the video was posted, which was 3 hours ago. When I see girls that are around my daughter's age, I typically get a sense of empathy, because whatever is going to happen in this series of TikTok posts isn't going to be good, and I never want anything bad to happen to my daughter or anyone else's kids. But this time, my brain couldn't get over a hump, because one of the girls looked spot on to Grace. However, I didn't want to commit to this theory, so I played part 2 again. Unfortunately, I can't fast forward the video, so I have to wait again for the last few seconds. As I'm waiting, my mind is going through the what ifs. Most importantly, what if that girl is actually my daughter? As the video nears to its end and zooms in on the girls, my worst nightmare comes true. As I take a screenshot of the video, my daughter left wearing a Niagara Falls souvenir sweatshirt that she bought a few months ago. Also, the 2 other girls look like Amanda and Raquel. My thoughts instantaneously go to, why is my daughter sitting on a bus and not Carol's car? And why is someone videotaping the girls? I quickly click on part 3 of the video series, which was posted 2 hours ago. This video shows the 3 girls still sitting on the bus, where each of the 2 other girls are sitting on the aisle ends of the back seats, and my daughter is sitting right in front of them. I could tell right away by my daughter's facial expressions that something isn't right. Grace isn't crying, but I could tell that she looks like she is confused and scared, where Raquel and Amanda have the same frightened facial expressions. I really start to panic as I reach for my phone and attempt to call Carl. I'm sorry, this phone number you're trying to reach is no longer in service. Goodbye. What the hell? I say out loud in a confused tone. Then, I try to call Grace's phone, which goes straight to voicemail. I fall deeper into this nightmare as I frantically try to find the phone number for Amanda's mother. Grace's mother. Grace's mother. Sheila used to deal with all the Girl Scout issues, so I'm limited with contact information. Luckily, I am able to get into Sheila's email account where I look for Girl Scout names and phone numbers. I find Amanda's name with her mother, Joy's phone number. So I quickly dial the number. Hello, Joy. Listen, this is Grace's father, Ted. Are you aware of Carol taking the girls on a little yellow bus to the camping trip? No. Carol picked up Amanda in a blue Mercury Sable. Why do you think they're on a bus? Listen, you're on your cell phone right now, right? Yes. I'm going to send you a TikTok video. Please watch the video and call me right back. Sure. Send the video. As I sent the video, I didn't know what my next step should be, but calling 911 was definitely going to happen in the near future. Within a couple of minutes, I get a return phone call from Joy. Ted, what's going on? Why is someone filming our daughters? Joy said in a hurried, frantic voice. I have no idea, but I don't have a good feeling about this. Did you try calling your sister Carol? My sister? She ain't my sister. She's Raquel's mother. Ted, that woman Carol told me that she's your sister when I met her before the camping trip. Well, she told me that she's Raquel's mother. Oh my God, that woman isn't Raquel's mother, Joy said in a perplexed tone. Oh God, who is that psychopath? You know that Grace's mother, Sheila, used to go to all of the Girl Scout meetings, so I'm not familiar with all of the parents. What do we do? I'm going to call the police, I said. Okay, and I'll call Raquel's mother. I've never called 911 before, and I'm nervous to begin with. So calling 911 makes me even more nervous. 911, what's your emergency? My daughter went on a Girl Scout camping trip with 2 other girls and a woman, Carol, who has seemed to have lied about her identity. Okay, so what's the emergency? I came across a TikTok video of someone posting the 3 girls on a little yellow bus, and not the blue Mercury Sable that Carol picked them up with. Okay, so what are the girls' ages and what are they doing in the TikTok posts? They're around 11 years old and they all look nervous and scared. Okay, so could they just be nervous from being away from home? I suppose. But this woman, Carol, lied to me and said that she is the mother of one of the girls. But she's not. She told one of the other mothers that she is my sister, which obviously isn't true. Okay, sir, I'm going to send an officer over to your house because there's kids involved. But we have a really busy night with a lot of things going on. So it might take a while for the police to show up to your house. Wait, what? Why? I responded. Listen, sir. You haven't told me anything that sounded like your daughter or the other girls are being harmed, so we have to prioritize our available police officers. Listen, I didn't give that woman permission to videotape my kid, and I'm certain these girls have been kidnapped, and I have no idea where they're going. I say in an angered tone. Well, sir, I have a daughter that's in the Girl Scouts, and I have personally experienced when the leaders are dealing with multiple parents, that sometimes things get lost in translation, so I wouldn't rush to judgment yet. All you have is your daughter on a TikTok video sitting on a bus going on a bus going on. A Girl Scout camping trip, where she would understandably be nervous. Listen, my house address is 664 Mockingbird Lane. Hurry up and send someone over, I said in an angered tone as I hung up the phone. The video cameras on the bus are pointed in a direction so the viewers can't see the outside of the bus. So I don't even know if they're heading to the Poconos. It's pretty much dark outside now, which worries me even more. It's such a sinking feeling seeing that my daughter is in danger. I look to see if part 4 has been posted and has, so I click on it. Again, the girls are being videotaped as they're just sitting on the bus. The unnerving thing is that none of the girls are talking to each other. The 3 of them look like they're completely petrified, doing nothing more than just looking straight ahead. The girls remind me of the war videos I watch of D-Day and how my daughter specifically had that same doomed look as the soldiers had, while they sat on the transport boats waiting to storm the heavily entrenched beaches. The video was posted less than an hour ago, and this video is darker than the others, so I could tell that the video was actually taken about an hour ago. My phone starts to vibrate as I see that it's Joy calling. Hey, Joy, listen, I call 911 and they're sending someone over, but apparently they have more pressing issues. More pressing issues. What the hell is more important than 3 girls being kidnapped? The 911 operator thinks that a crime hasn't necessarily been committed, or that this isn't an emergency situation. She thinks the girls could just be looking nervous because they're scared about going on a camping trip and being away from their parents. Well, who the hell gave that Carol permission to videotape my daughter and post the video on TikTok? And who the hell is Carol? And why is she using a serial killer Blossoms as a username? You know, I was so frustrated with the 911 operator that I didn't even mention her username, but I doubt that wouldn't have made a difference. Serial Killer Blossoms is a new account and only had the 4 videos posted. There's not too many people who have viewed those so far, which is good, because I don't want them to be taken down for violating a TikTok policy. Ted, I really don't have a good feeling about this. Should I drive to the Poconos to the Red Squirrel Campground? The thing is, you can, but I'm not sure if the bus is even going to that campground, or even to the Poconos. The campground is less than 2 hours away, so they should have been there already. So what should we do? Joy asks me, while I can hear her crying over the phone. Who is this Carol person? I ask. I really have no idea. When Macy got diagnosed with cancer, her story was plastered everywhere on Facebook, and the fire company even had a fundraising dinner for her to cover her medical expenses. So she could just be some random psychopath that came across Macy's story and figured, hey, this is my opportunity to kidnap some kids. What is her motivation? Is she trying to get TikTok famous? Getting TikTok famous for kidnapping girls and taking them on a camping trip? Joyce said while still crying. That's when it dawned on me the naive mindset that Joy was having. I'm guessing she hasn't seen the countless videos of the horribleness this world has to offer, like the idea that there's people who kill just for some type of sick fun, like that eerie picture of the notorious serial killer, John Wayne Gacy, who is dressed up as a clown for a kid's performance. Joy hasn't paid attention to the fact the hashtags #ZSerialKiller and RedCrime video were used in the video posts, hence why they came to my video feed. If I thought that this Carol person was just videotaping them going camping, I probably would be a little mad. However, nothing about her actions or the videos point to her future actions as being harmless. While I'm on the phone with Joy, I see Part 5 has been posted. Listen, Joy, Part 5 has been posted, so I'm going to hang up and watch it. I pray the girls are alright. Try to find any possible information about that Carol woman. Bye. I really didn't want to play Dr. Phil with Joy, as I know my daughter's faith rests in the hands of these video posts. I click on Part 5, and besides the light from the video camera, I could tell that it's pitch black outside. The video camera pans the surroundings area as I see a thick forest with nothing more than trees. I haven't seen the girls yet, so my heart is beating double time. The camera eventually shows a makeshift campsite with a small fire burning. Based on the remoteness of the surroundings, I'm certain that the video is not of the Red Squirrel Campground and is probably in some very remote area, based on the thickness of the forest. The camera turns its attention to the small fire pit, and then to a small 2-person tent. I can hear the camera person breathing heavy as she walks towards the tent. Every single inch of me is experiencing absolute terror, as I don't know what's inside the tent, because so far I've seen no signs of Grace or the other 2 girls. The tent slowly opens up, and I start breathing to the point where I could go into convulsions at any moment. As the tent is opened, I let out a sigh of relief, as I see the 3 girls are partially sitting up in the cramped tent. But then my heart sinks to my feet, as I see their helpless facial expressions. I focus in on Grace as I see that her eyes are watery. She looks like she had seen the inner belly of hell and is too terrified to move. The camera moves from left to right as I notice the 2 other girls have the same petrified face as Grace. Not a single word is said in the video, and I feel angry and completely helpless as I scream out, Don't you fucking harm my daughter, you son of a bitch. Then the video ends.